Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Happy Friday, guys. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining me. I am so very happy to see you, and I'm happy that it's Friday because it's pizza and the movie day. Also, because who boy is a brother tired? I is tired because it's been a week. It's been every week now. I think between now and November 5th, every week, let's just take it for granted that every week is going to be intense, is going to be hectic and busy. I assume some of these weeks will be enjoyable. Like the last really enjoyable week I think I had was was it last week? Was the debate last week? It wasn't, right? What day is it? It's the 20th. It was the I think it was the 10th. Was it? Man, that was a hell of a I don't even know anymore. But that was a hell of an entertaining week for me. Feels like it was last week, but it was so long ago. Anyway, this week was entertaining too. We had last night we had a major town hall, which we'll get into. First, I want to say hello to Zelda up there at the top with the thumbs up she's giving, and the Valerie G is here, and the Fox Hill Dreams, and the Monique Lee, and the Trump Reaper. Let's see, who do we get? Stella Baxter is here. CJ. Ness from Connecticut, the ABX girl, Lulu girl. Oh, there's me, Brooklyn Dead Fine. Cindy C is here. Just so you know, that thing I hum and it's nothing. It's not a song. It's not from anything. Pam Ham is here. But Stephanie L from Florida is here. Watcher Soko. Tracy M, aka Nurse Mitch. Listen a bit. There's Simon Metcalf from across the ocean. Welcome, Simon. Glad to have you here. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right on into what I like to call the stories of the day.
Stories of the day.
I'm going to try to move the stories of the day along as quickly as possible because there's quite a bit of stuff going on. Some of the stuff I don't even think I managed to fit into my little PowerPoint thing. But the title for today's show is Trump and Diddy, all the worst people. Because, he said, I have the best people. No, you don't. You have the worst people. You have the absolute worst people. You are surrounded by felons and black Nazis and sexual abusers. That's who you are. That's who you surround yourself with. Disgusting. What do we have there on the cover? We have a birther. I'm talking about Melania. We have a black Nazi. That's Mark Robinson. We have a whale head chopper offer, dead bear packing and adulterer, RFK Jr., and of course a kidnapper and sexual abuser, Diddy, all with a guy that birds of a feather, as they say. But let's cleanse our palate a little bit with last night. Kamala Harris did yet another town hall / interview. And it's funny. for the past month, we were hearing you could nonstop. Like, when is Kamala going to do an interview? When is Kamala going to do an interview? You don't hear that anymore. In fact, you're probably going to start hearing, why does she stop doing interviews? She should stop. It's enough already. because that's all you're getting now is wall to wall Kamala Harris, and she's telling her story, and she's very good at it too. Donald Trump, meanwhile, is in the midst of what can only be called a nervous breakdown, or maybe just a complete descent into dementia. He is now posting obviously fake. It's not even AI. It's just bad Photoshop thing. Attacks at Kamala Harris because when when you're completely out of ideas, you go to that. That's your go-to. That's really really pathetic. And yeah, of course, you may have heard, unless you just got out of a coma and or climbed out of a cave on a deserted island. Uh, Sean P. Diddy Combs um was arrested. Finally, was arrested and charged with a slew of crimes, but it's essentially it's sex trafficking, and he could do upwards of 20 years, maybe the rest of his life. I'm not even sure. Um, oh, and I mentioned that because there's more pictures of Donald Trump with Diddy than there are of Donald Trump and his youngest son. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also hit that like button. It looks like my thumbs uppin'. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to try to move through this section quickly, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that there is a new show starting on HBO. Now, over the years, the Penguin has been played by as diverse a group of characters as Burgess Meredith, aka Mickey from Rocky, um, Danny DeVito, and whoever that cat was who played the Penguin in Gotham, right? I don't know his name, but there's a new Penguin in town, and without cheating, without looking it up, without Googling it, does anybody know who this guy is playing the Penguin? Let's see who gets this first. Don't cheat. Don't Google it. Okay, I don't see it. Ah, there we go. Stella Baxter first with Colin Farrell. That is correct. That is, and Samantha Hawkins came in second. Yeah, it's amazing. So this is a credit not only to his makeup team, right? Because obviously he is unrecognizable as Colin Farrell, but his performance in The Batman, the latest installation of the Batman movies, was just phenomenal. He's one of the most talented actors out there. I think he's very good. He's got range. He's excellent. And HBO has just started a new show called The Penguin. This is the logo. I have to point out this logo. If you look at the G in the word penguin, the G, the space in between, if you look at that little pointy thing pointing towards the U, that's a penguin. I love it when, as a designer, I love it when designers do stuff like that, when they put a little fun thing in the middle of the word, like FedEx. If you didn't already know this, look at the FedEx logo. There's an arrow in the middle of the FedEx logo pointed to the right. Fun fact. Wilbur McCarthy is here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. And I see you there, Chris Passeri. So also, I can't shout this show out enough. I really should tweet about it. It is fantastic. I just watched the most recent episode last night. Long story short, it's Kevin Hart playing the Chicken Man based on a true story about a party that went sideways on the night that Muhammad Ali made his return to boxing, and there was a party after the fight or during the fight, during and after the fight. And Kevin Hart's character, the Chicken Man, organized this thing. Little did he know that there were people with bad intentions who planned to rob the party. And little did they know that the people attending that party were heavy hitters in the crime, the world of crime. And these were like, these cats were the Black Mafia. So one bad move followed another bad move, and it's a fantastic cast: Kevin Hart, Samuel L. Jackson, Don Cheadle, uh, uh, Taraji P. Henson, incredible performance, and what's my crazy man's name? Terrence Howard. Terrence, 1 times 1 equals 2, Howard. And Civil War, I told you I was going to watch that last week. That is a very interesting movie. Without spoiling anything, it's a fictitious civil war between two different sides in the United States, but it's current day. And they never really tell you, you know, who who's the bad guy in this. You're watching this from the perspective, the point of view of journalists, of photojournalists who are emotionally detached from what they are seeing. It's very clever concept. I give that a thumbs up. It's a good movie. All right, so let's jump into the good news. The good news this week is that I'll put it like this, right? So polls aren't really good news. They're kind of good news because it gives you an idea. It's a snapshot. A poll that comes out. People put too much importance on these polls, like Donald Trump. I'm winning in all the polls. You are today, maybe, but tomorrow, maybe you're not. You suck. Um, but no, Kamala Harris has been steadily gaining ground, gaining, and she surpassed Trump about 2 weeks ago. And that's why he is so unhinged in his behavior. His behavior it can only be described as unhinged, uh, unstable. And it's because he is losing in just about every significant battleground state poll there is. In fact, this week, there were 5 polls that came out, and of the 5, only one, a Marist poll, has them tied. And let's see if I have my do I have my videos lined up today? Let's see. I should. Hang on. I feel like I do, but maybe I don't. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's see. Let me share this with you. That one. Share screen. Show. There we go.
Right, so this is in the Keystone State in Pennsylvania. All these polls were released in the last 24 hours, and we see a lot more blue than red on your screen. So Quinnipiac yesterday, +5 in Pennsylvania for Kamala Harris. The New York Times this morning just out a 4-point lead for Kamala Harris. Franklin and Marshall in Pennsylvania, a 3-point margin, a little bit closer. And Marist came out at midnight, or 12:01, came out with a tie. I will also note the Washington Post had a 1-point advantage for Kamala Harris. So the bottom line is there is a range of results in the Keystone State, Pennsylvania, but it leans in the Harris direction. Not one of these results, even within the margin of error, has Trump ahead.
All right, before we get to the leans.
I like how he did that. Hold on. This is the leans. It leans. Zelda, my friend. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Zelda. We love you here on the show, and thank you so much for supporting what we do here. We really truly appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hello, Diana Nelson, who is a Buffalo Bills fan. Your team's future is looking up. Talented team there. This is an interesting note from teacher Laurie G. Teacher Laurie G says, heed James Carville, who sometimes is a dickhead, but overall he is a smart guy, very smart guy. He's been around. Trump always under polls. Don't forget to 2016. That is an excellent point to make. I think my tip for maintaining sanity in viewing these polls would be to take them all with a grain of salt, right? Take them for a bit of encouragement, right? Because I remember the days, we all remember the days leading up to July, what was it, 20th, when President Biden said, I'm stepping aside and passing the torch to Kamala Harris. We all remember the days leading up to that where we were, it was doom and gloom, and every political prognosticator was saying that Joe Biden is trailing in the polls and he's trailing here and he's trailing there and la 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 la. He was trailing all over the place, and it was demoralizing, absolutely demoralizing. And I think that has a lot to do with there was like a tidal wave. There was a literal tidal wave of positive, like just love, spontaneous love for Kamala Harris and her candidacy. And that's not to say that it's not deserved, that it's only because, she was new and she was not old, but younger than President Biden. But yeah, it was kind of some excuse me. It was some relief from constantly the constant barrage and onslaught of the bad news of the polls. So the point I'm making is, uh, a poll is like kind of like looking in the mirror right now, or right before excuse me, right after you finish getting ready to go to work. Right. So you are all put together and you're ready. That's a snapshot. It's a snapshot of what you're looking like right now. But can you maintain that? Can you maintain that? If, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you work in construction or you're working at a desk or whatever, you go through the stress of one day. And I'm sorry, if you had a long day, you had to work overtime, you're stuck in traffic, or you're on the subway for a long time, man, by the time you get home, sometimes you look toe up, especially if you got hit by a car, drove by too close and splashed you with water from a puddle, and, anything. So it's a snapshot. It's a snapshot. So take it with a grain of salt. It's okay for us to look at the polls and say, "Oh, that's encouraging." But make no mistake, this election is going to come down to who can turn out the most voters, period. Nothing else matters. Really, clearly, nothing else matters, because what we are witnessing in real time, we're witnessing like one side, our side, the Democrats, we're for the most part being straight up. All right. When I say straight up, we're not playing fast and loose with the truth, with reality. Okay. We know, for instance, let me just give you for instance, we know that JD Vance wasn't banging couches. We know that, right? But it was a silly thing that somehow caught fire. We all know this, right? I hope you're watching and you're like, what do you mean? BDD? Yeah, of course. He wasn't banging couches, but it was funny. So, we all played fast and loose with that for a minute. But on the things that matter, on facts and figures and the things that, potential dangers in the future, we're serious about those things, the things that matter. How we're going to help the middle class, build out the middle class, how we're going to help poor people, people who are hungry, how we're going to help restore women's rights and restore women's bodily autonomy. Those things we are straight up with. The other side is freaking it's wackadoo. It's wackadoo. But so anyway, I went off on a tangent about polls. But yeah, take them with a grain of salt, but act as though we are 10 points behind, right? Lend that sense of urgency to your conversations with the people you know. Serious, not just, your inner circle. Branch out from that inner circle, you know, uh, your neighbors, your coworkers, somebody, who just happens to kick up a conversation with you on the bus. You're sitting on the bus. Excuse me. You happen to be reading, I don't know, you're reading a copy of The Biggest Loser. And you come to a page like this. It's a nice full page, full color page there. And the person next to you is like, "Hey, where'd you get that?" Don't worry, we're gonna do actually later on in the show. I am gonna preview some of these beautiful color pages for you. Um, yeah, talk to that person sitting next to you. Yeah, um, I know a lot of people. You can do something like this. My mom was a Trump supporter. She supported Trump both times in 2016 and 2020, but she's fed up. She doesn't like the way he talks about people and blah blah whatever. She seems unhinged. She's really old. It doesn't seem like he's got it under the ball. And Kamala Harris seems like she's normal. She's normal. She's rational. Anyway, um, let me catch up with my comments here. Ooh, Melissa, good one. Ask Hillary about polls. Lulu Girl says Carville can be funny, sometimes a little jerky, yes, but a character, also yes. Here's another one. Teacher Laurie with these comments here. Trend is encouraging, but don't get complacent. We now have a war in the Middle East, multiple countries and thousands of civilian casualties and deaths, and may affect our elections. Pro Israel, anti Netanyahu here. Same. Thank you. Cindy Kellner says, "Hi, BDD and everyone. Sorry, a little late. Got stuck in the kitchen. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. Glad to have you here." I'm having trouble understanding this one from Lori McDonald. It almost seems like a Trump comment. Don't boot her out yet. She hasn't really said anything disrespectful, but let's see. How will Trump's end come here? Democrats on the right now, blue dog Trump and a little repub. See, this is where I think it's like a Trump comment. Commie Kamala occupies the left. I don't even understand what you're trying to say, Lori McDonald. What is this? I don't know. It's hard to be offended by that when it doesn't really make any sense. Sorry. Okay, so meanwhile, there's a ton of negativity on the right, on Donald Trump's side, but what I am loving is the positivity between Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, right? First of all, Kamala Harris, the more you see her, the more I see her, and I'm not speaking as a Kamala Harris cheerleader. I'm just speaking as like a regular guy. The more I see her, the more I like her. She seems very at ease with this thing. Like it feels like she's in a groove, right? People were like, I don't feel nervous. You guys will remember. You'll remember when, like, before President Biden's most recent State of the Union, brother was nervous. I was nervous. I was like, I'm holding my breath before he says anything. obviously after his State of the Union, I was, standing up and applauding. But before every freaking press conference or whatever, a lot of us were like holding our breath. Not so with Kamala Harris, right? Uh, she is very good at what she does, and I don't know where this narrative on the right came from, right? Like the same kind of phantom narrative when they were saying that there was going to be a red wave, that they're feeding their own echo chamber. They also fed their echo chamber in this fantasy belief that Kamala Harris is not good in an interview or that she doesn't speak properly. I can't finish a sentence. I don't know where the hell that shit came from. She was a prosecutor for a long time, district attorney, um, attorney general, senator, United States senator. I read some reports where people were complaining, staffers that worked for Kamala Harris, they were complaining that you can't come to Kamala Harris uh, and add something to her agenda random without having a rationale or an explanation for her because she's already read all of the points and she wants to know why is this here. And so she's doing her due diligence. This is someone who's paying attention to her P's and her Q's. She's on the ball. Unlike a jackass who spends hours in the morning in executive time, throwing ketchup on the wall, watching Fox News, rage tweeting. Come on, there is absolutely no comparison. But let's talk for a minute about Tim Walz. I love Tim Walz. I love this dude. I love him. When I say, every time I see Kamala, you know, uh, I like her more. I feel the same way about Tim Walz. I don't know where he fits in the hierarchy of my favorite politicians, but he's way up there because that guy is he's so like Kamala. He's very comfortable in his own skin, unlike Mr. Can't order a donut like a human being, JD Vance. So how long you worked here? Hmm? Good, good. You work here? Yeah. How long you worked here? Hmm. Okay, good. you know. Oh, it's hilarious. But let me share with you. I saw a video of Tim Walz doing phone banking earlier today, which was cool as hell. I would love to get a call from Tim Walz because he picks up the phone. He's like, "Hi, Bernice, Tim Walz here. Great to speak to you." And he sounds so cool. Anyway, I saw this video. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. This one right here. Oops, that's not it. Yeah.
And I think it's important to tell, growing up in that middle class family, she's laid out a plan for an opportunity economy. And I think it's important to tell our neighbors this. Get the phones out, you're hitting record, send them a video. It's beautiful. Some of you say, I know why this guy was a good teacher. He identifies with the attention deficit people in this. So, no, it's about being in the moment. You are at a political rally with your neighbors.
How can you not, honestly, how can you not love that? Hmm? And this guy out of the he didn't script that, guys. Trump supporters, he did not script a flock of geese flying by in the V formation at that moment just so he could, that's spur of the moment, spontaneous, just like as he said, being in the moment. And he is in the moment. Kamala Harris is in the moment. And Donald Trump is having a string of moments. Um, but I saw another thing today. Kamala Harris did this thing with Wired magazine. It's called like autocomplete sentences, and this was like another clever way of getting the word out about who she is, getting her to answer questions about herself. So they typed in Kamala Harris, and then when you're typing in the search field on the computer something, and then autocomplete pops up with the most popular things that people type in. So that was a very clever way um, of what do you call it? Clever way of introducing herself to more people. Cindy C says, I pray Kamala gets a fierce prosecutor to replace Merrick. DOJ need to step it up on all these congressional criminals. Cindy C, do me a favor. Remind me of that when we get to the Lindsey Graham part of this show, because we are going to talk about that. So just remind me, please. That's your job, Cindy. Okay. Oh, so here, you probably can't see this that well. Occupy Democrats put this thing together. It was a list of some of the, just an incomplete list of some of the people who liked the post where was, uh, Taylor Swift was endorsing Kamala Harris. You can see there Reese Witherspoon is there, Jessica Alba, Olivia Wilde, Hilary Duff. I see Lady Gaga up there, Oprah, Blake Lively, Viola Davis. I mean, it's a who's who. Megan Trainor, Cara Delevingne, Jennifer Aniston, Aubrey Plaza. It really is Octavia Spencer. There's a lot of women here. John Legend, okay. Charlie XCX, of course. Selena Gomez. Let's see. Will Poulter. It's an incredible who's who list of celebrities, all in support of Kamala Harris. And so, speaking of celebrities, the list, yes, that is, excuse me, that list is on Twitter, Trump Reaper. So what was I saying? Yeah. So last night the celebrities came out in support of Kamala Harris for the United. Oh goddamn! What's the name of this? This was called Unite for America. Okay. Um, and everybody, well, not everybody, but we had Meryl Streep was there, J Lo, Bryan Cranston, aka Walter White from Breaking Bad, Chris Rock, Ben Stiller, Tracy Ellis Ross was there. Just a ton. A ton of people who all came out in support of Kamala Harris for this really very clever, creative town hall format where people got to ask Kamala Harris questions, and I thought there were a few funny moments during the show. I'm going to share one with you right now. There we go.
Hello, President Harris. Yeah. What is 7 days? 27 days. Hello, President Harris. Yeah.
That was fun. It was quick, but it was a fun moment where she accidentally called her Meryl Streep accidentally called her President Harris, where she is still only Vice President Harris. But it was cute. Another moment that was funny that I don't have on video, but it was Oprah Winfrey was asking her about the Second Amendment, whether or not she supports the Second Amendment. And she said, "Yeah, I do." She said, "You are a gun owner, right?" And she says, "Yep, that's right." And I guess she thought that was unusual, but Kamala Harris justified that. She's like, "Hey, if somebody breaks into my house, they're gonna get shot." you know, and you could feel the fake outrage begin to swell on the right at that moment, because that is basically their number one, number two, and number three argument for having like an arsenal for you know taking on a small island. Yeah, I need my AR-15. What are you hunting with an AR-15? Well, if the government turns tyrannical, then I'm going to shoot them up with my AR-15. But an intruder breaking into your home, that's literally what should be the primary reason for having a weapon on you, is in self-defense or defense of your home, right? Oh, I can't believe she said that. Really? she should have gained some voters from that comment. And I'm not mad at her. Look, she made it clear. She's like, "Yeah, I own a gun, but I also don't think that that assault weapons need to be out on the street." She said we had, a successful ban on assault weapons that prevented a lot of deaths and a lot of mass shootings, and we should have another one. And she's not alone in that. There's a majority of gun owners who support a ban on assault weapons. There's reasonable people out there, a lot. And if you're only on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, you wouldn't know it, because you are visually subjected to those people who obsess. They're just laser focused on that one issue, and no matter what, there's nothing you could say to sway them away from, "I need my AR-15 because..." Excuse me. Anyway, so I thought the town hall, the Oprah Winfrey town hall for Kamala Harris, was very successful. I look forward to seeing more of these things as we move forward in this election cycle. Um, so I have this picture here because Donald Trump also has his celebrities too. There's James Woods there. There's, sadly, I did not know Dennis Quaid was a Trump supporter until recently. And then I just recently learned that I guess all Quaids are knuckleheads and idiot morons. That's sad. Sad. I thought Randy was the only uh, crazy Quaid. And there's Roseanne Barr, of course, and I'm not sure who that is in the upper right, nor do I care. I googled I googled celebrities supporting Trump, and of course, there's Kid Rock, there's Ted Nugent, Dean Cain, Chachi. What's his real name? Chachi's real name. I can't remember. Chachi. Scott Baio. That's it. That's his name. Um, Anyway, I brought that up because there's another celebrity in the news right now. Um, Diddy was arrested recently, and so Donald Trump thought that it would be a good idea to repost someone's really bad Photoshop meme with someone putting Diddy's face on a photo that we've actually all seen recently, because it was already in the news, because his stupid followers made a big point of showing us that at one point Kamala Harris was hanging out with Montel Williams and his daughter, and they tried to nasty it up by saying that here's Montel with two women. Gross. Gross. That was his daughter. Anyway, not Sean did not P. Diddy, Montel. See that? Come on now. So they're not even doing good memes. It's not even good. It's bad. It's lazy. What are you guys doing? And it's all in line with this trend of fakeries. You know, they are so mad. The people on the right are so mad that people won't take them seriously. Like that whole thing with, that's why nobody took you seriously when that Hunter Biden laptop came out. Because this is what the right does. They have their Jacob Walls and their James O'Keefe, that guy from, what's the name of that fake ass news thing where they what's James O'Keefe's newspaper or publication, whatever, can't remember. But all these folks who push these frauds and these hoaxes online, like the cats, they're eating the cats and they're eating the pets and the dogs, desperate. Thank you, Chris Passeri. That's what it is. MAGA gets desperate. I can't even spell desperate. Yeah. They are getting desperate. Stella Baxter. And this is funny. The Trump Reaper says the right can't meme. That's funny because that's what they accuse us of, not being able to. Project Veritas. Thank you, Cindy C. Project Veritas. And ironically, Veritas means truth. I think it's Latin for truth, right? And that's all they know now are these hoaxes and these fake bullshit things, fake news. So anyway, what's not fake news is that P. Diddy was arrested for, among other things, sex trafficking. And I thought it was like hilarious that Donald Trump chose to highlight that photograph that's a fake of Kamala Harris and Diddy, because he's like, well, they're sharing all these photos of me with Diddy. I'm going to share one of her with Diddy. But the problem is, dude, she actually might have. You would have been better off trying to find a photo of her with Diddy than photoshopping Diddy into a photo with her. Because now it just looks like, well, if they had to fake a photo of her with Diddy, she was never with him. You, on the other hand, are with him in photos almost as much as you are in photos with Jeffrey Epstein, another notorious sex trafficker. Diddy, by the way, is apparently, I don't know if this is true or not. I did see this in multiple places, but they're saying that he is on suicide watch. Suicide watch. They should call it Epstein watch because, excuse me, I thought I'd rid myself of this cough, and now it is returning. Damn it. But yeah, Donald Trump is in many, 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 many pictures with this bird of a feather, P. Diddy, on and on and on. So not looking good for Diddy or for Trump. I'm not sure who it reflects more poorly on. I think it reflects more poorly on Diddy that he's in as many pictures with Trump. Okay. Here's another one. So this guy, Mark Robinson, shit really hit the fan with him yesterday, right? He had some campaign events he had to cancel. And it looked like at one point the Trump campaign wanted him to pull himself out of the race for governor. Mark Robinson is running to be governor of North Carolina. but there was a scandal that was hitting the airwaves yesterday. And that scandal is that a little over a decade ago, Mark Robinson was apparently spending a lot of time in porn stores, pornography stores, hanging out, eating pizza, um, jumping onto jumping into a chat room on a pornography website in which he shared so many off the wall thoughts that were like, was anybody even asking you? Dude, he just came out with this shit, and before I go any further, he insisted, I'm going to say this, he insists that it's not him, right? You all know me. Yeah, we do. I've seen many disgusting comments come directly out of his mouth. Personally, I think what's disqualifying was him saying that he wants to go back to the America before women could vote. That right there, you disqualified yourself, dude. Oh, right there, right? But he's also said a bunch of other stuff of that caliber. He's a Holocaust denier. He said the Holocaust was hogwash. Why should we believe your denials now when your shit? He has a profile named Mini Soldier that he uses on every site. Mini Soldier, and that is the same website. That is the same profile name that he used to write things like slavery is not bad. Some people need to be slaves. Excuse me. He says, I wish they would bring slavery back. I would certainly buy a few. Wow. Yeah. It's insane. That is insane. He also refers to himself as a black Nazi. Dude, don't bring us into that shit. You want to you can just call yourself a Nazi, right? Leave the black part out of it, right? You disavowing your blackness with that statement, just so you know. Your skin color might be black, but you're fucked up in here. Completely fucked up. Don't bring us into your madness. That's some crazy bullshit. Another one, he says, I'd take Hitler over any of the shit that's in Washington right now. Crazy. And this guy, the Trump campaign issued a statement. Their statement about Mark Robinson today had absolutely zero mention of Mark Robinson. Literally, I kid you not. They issued a statement about him, but they didn't mention his name whatsoever. They just said, we plan to win North Carolina or the Tar Heel State. Tar Heel State? Whatever. Didn't mention his name at all. But they're looking forward to him staying in the race. Oh, yeah. And his email address popped up on the Ashley Madison, and it's confirmed. It's already been confirmed. People who know how to confirm legit email addresses, his email address popped up on the Ashley Madison website. So what's Ashley Madison, you may ask? Ashley Madison is the website that people go to when they want to cheat on their spouse. Mm-hmm. And there's plenty of that too on that porn website that obviously I'm not going to get into because it's gross. I felt gross reading it. I'm definitely not going to read it to you. I am going to read some other stuff to you because, excuse me, speaking of cheating on your wife, there's this guy. It's like I said, all the best people are actually all the worst people. Just a little over 2 months ago, Donald Trump was reveling in the fact that he had gotten the uh he had secured the endorsement of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, if it was Robert F. Kennedy, you know, God rest his soul, that would be one thing. Or John F. Kennedy, God also rest his soul. That would have been another thing. If it was even Ted Kennedy, God rest his soul, you know what I'm saying. If it was a legitimate, sensible, rational Kennedy, a real Democrat, that would have been a big deal. But it wasn't. It was this nut job, RFK Jr., who is a vaccine anti-vaxxer conspiracy theorist who goes around picking up dead baby bears and putting him in the trunk of his car, slicing off the head of a dead whale, strapping it to the roof of his car while nasty whale juices go in and spray his kids in the back seat of his family car. This motherfucker was just exposed cheating on his wife. Who? Cheryl Hines, aka Cheryl from Curb Your Enthusiasm, whose character I never liked on the show anyway. Wifey and I both we've watched Curb Your Enthusiasm a bunch of times. Never liked Cheryl. Never liked her. So yeah, and this is bizarre, right? So this woman here, Olivia Nuzzi, she posted a tweet back in 2015, and it's hilarious in how, excuse me, how poorly this is aged. She wrote, "Why does Hollywood think female reporters sleep with their sources?" Why does Hollywood think female reporters sleep with their sources? So my tweet today was at 6:30 in the morning. It said, "Aging like a severed whale head strapped to the top of the family car, rotting in the summer sun." Yeah. That was her source. And what I do want to share with you is just a little snippet from the article she wrote. I'm not. It's unclear if this was before she decided to cheat with him or after. Um, but it's wild. This is an article from Olivia Nuzzi is a writer for New York Magazine. Maybe she might not be anymore, but here's the article. It's called "The Mind-Bending Politics of RFK Jr.'s Spoiler Campaign." He's a conservative. He's a liberal. He's and he could turn the presidential race upside down. Now there's a picture, ironically, of excuse me, him in his car, and it looks like some dogs, which very well could be a bear. One of those could be a bear. So I'm going to read a little bit to you. On a Tuesday morning in late October, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was in Brentwood at the 5,900 square foot home he purchased for $6.6 million in 2021 with his wife, the actress Cheryl Hines of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Shaded by sycamore and fruit trees, the pad has 6 bedrooms, a backyard tiki bar, a pool with a waterfall, private security hovering at the gate, more on that later, and parked out front, a Toyota minivan that he calls the dog car on account of its being unsuitable for passengers of any other species. Bobby, as he's known to friends, walked through the French doors dressed for his morning hike in blue jeans, a black hoodie, Keens, and an unfriendly expression. He said little as he led his 3 enormous canines to the van, though I don't know what he could have said that would have prepared me for the sight of the thing. that the dog car survived a nuclear war, maybe, or even more frightening, the chickenpox vaccine. Rear view mirrors smashed to bits, seat belts chewed off, cushions gnawed open, filth and dog hair covering every surface. The death machine smells so bad, I thought I might pass out after about 15 seconds riding shotgun. And that was before the candidate hung a sharp left and sped off towards the trailhead, the dogs barking and toppling over in the area of the car that theoretically should contain back seats, but instead holds a wooden bench. "Shut up, you idiots," he told the dogs. At least I think he was talking to them. He swung the vehicle around to park on the side of the road, released the hounds, and started his ascent. Um, so it's unclear if she started dating this dude before she got into that death vehicle that smelled like hell. But, you know, disgusting. Disgusting. Later on in the article, she would go on to say something about poor Cheryl. Almost every time I've done something difficult, I've had those moments, rock climbing or kayaking, where you get to a point where you say, "What on earth did I get myself into? Get me out of here." That's a quote from RFK Jr. But anyway, needless to say, she's in a relationship with him. The word came out that she claimed it's not a sexual relationship. So it's an emotional relationship. It's a relationship, right? You guys are fucking around. He's cheating on his wife. And I'm surprised that she, meaning his wife, hasn't given him the boot already since he has thrown his support over to Donald Trump. She said that she would divorce him if he teamed up with Trump. So is nobody does nobody hey Eddie G, I see him, my friend. Welcome. Does nobody say what they mean or mean what they say anymore? You know, Donald Trump is busy fucking around on his wife with this crazy this bag of insanity. So let's move on now to the final part of my little rant today. This is, you guys know how the electoral votes work with Nebraska and Maine, right? Those of you who don't, let me just give you a brief summary, right? Nebraska and Maine do not. They are the few states that do not award their electoral votes in a winner take all system, right? Most states, if the candidate wins the majority of the votes in that state, they award all of the electoral votes to that one candidate. But Maine and Nebraska have it broken down into districts, and almost every election, Nebraska, which is mostly Republican, mostly red, they give the majority of their, what is it, three or four electoral votes to the Republican candidate, but the Democratic candidate gets one electoral vote from Nebraska. The same thing with Maine, just reversed. So the deadline for Maine to decide whether or not they were going to do a winner take all thing was yesterday, right? If they wanted to switch to winner take all, they would have had to decide by yesterday. Coincidentally, yesterday was also the same day that Lindsey Graham, senator of not Nebraska, but South Carolina, Lindsey Graham went to Nebraska to speak to their election officials and try to convince them to change their system to winner take all. Now that it's no longer possible for Maine to switch, right? So that Democrats get all of those electoral votes. They can't do that anymore. So that's the Republican Party pulling a fast one. And it's so weird. It's so weird that Republicans are the ones that are constantly crying about election interference and cheating. And what are they doing? Election interference and cheating. In other, like, first of all, this is not the first time Lindsey Graham has pulled this bullshit. Back in the 2020 election, he went to Georgia to meddle in their election to try to get them to discard some votes that were. It's unbelievable that he's still in the Senate and he's not fucking in jail. How is that not a crime? Makes no sense. So when Cindy C earlier in the show mentioned that Merrick Garland should be kicked to the curb and Kamala Harris should appoint a new attorney general, I concur wholeheartedly, because I think I think Merrick Garland is not up for the task. This is an entirely different Republican Party. It's no longer a regular Republican Party. They are supercharged with nonsense, with election denial mixed with Donald Trump cheaterism, for lack of a better word. He believes in winning at all costs, no matter what. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if he uses a fake picture or a fake voice. Somebody used faked Joe Biden's voice in some election call, a robot call telling voters in New Hampshire not to bother going to vote. Save your vote for November. Insane. This is what Republicans do. They spend all of their time and their energy thinking of ways to cheat instead of using their time and their energy of thinking up policy ideas that voters would go for. If you could use a fraction of the energy you spend trying to cheat the system or cheat or lie to voters, you could make a difference. You could make a difference in this country. You really could. People might actually consider voting for you. Come up with some things that, look, Kamala Harris actually has, I think, some great ideas. So what she wants to do for small businesses, right? Small business, that should be a Republican thing. Instead, Kamala Harris has co-opted it into her plan. She's planning to increase the amount for small businesses from 5,000 to 50,000. That's robust. That's going to help create a boom for businesses, and extending more child tax credits. Child tax credits made a huge difference. It took a lot of kids and Black families out of poverty. So yeah, Lindsey has become garbage. What happened to him? He sold his soul. A lot of people believe that there is some compromising information out there about him. I think they're right, because wow, he's a shell of who he once was. The last time you saw an inkling of who Lindsey Graham once was, he said, if we nominate Donald Trump, the Republican Party will be destroyed and we will deserve it. That's the last time anybody saw the real Lindsey Graham. See, that's when John McCain was still alive. Maybe he was just doing that to to impress John McCain. So anyway, Lindsey Graham wants to wants Nebraska to give all of their votes to Donald Trump. And there's no idea on where they've landed uh, in that. But there's other things to concern ourselves with, like Georgia, for instance. Georgia officials just passed a law stating that um, election officials will have to um, hand count um, the ballots on election night. Let me say that again. Georgia State Election Board approved a new rule that requires a hand count of all of the machine ballots. So basically, they're double checking the machine's work by hand on election night. What could possibly go wrong? I don't know. If you imagine that there are dozens of different human hands counting these ballots um, on a high pressure evening, and there's just a lot of human handling. I don't know. I guess they used to do it back in the day, a long time ago. My concernicus is that why? Why would you do this with 47 days to go before the election? All these people have already been trained. They have already been trained in how to do their job. Now you want to have to retrain them to do something else? Why? There's that other thing where Donald Trump specifically called out three members of the Georgia election board. He called them out during his rally about a month or two ago. He's like, these three people are very special. They're going to be doing some special work for us. Hello, Merrick Garland. Hello. Gotta get on that, dude. Come on. They are literally telling us, in plain sight of everyone, what the fuck they are up to. You can't expect Mark Elias is a godsend, but you can't expect him to do all this shit himself. He's gonna need some help, chasing these crimes down, these cheaters down. So, whether it's that direct election interference, or it's selling a lie about Haitian immigrants to stoke fear and hatred amongst your racist base, there's a better way to do politics, and it's not this. It's not this. This is disgusting. This is absolutely disgusting. I saw Trump say something the other night, which I couldn't believe. I could not believe a candidate for the president of the United States had said this. And let me just find that. Why why can't I see anything here? Oh, there we go. Here, let me just go here. It's quicker. This is my feed, you guys. Goodness gracious. So many tweets. Almost there. Almost there. Here we go.
They're coming from the Congo. They're coming from Africa. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from all over the world. Asia. A lot of it coming from Asia. And what's happening to our country is we're just destroying the fabric of life in our country. And we're not going to take it any longer. And you got to get rid of these people. They're coming from the Congo. They're coming from Africa.
I couldn't understand. There's a black woman here directly to the left of him, and she's nodding her head as he's saying this this hateful shit. What is she even thinking about?
Coming from the Middle East. They're coming from all over the world. Asia. A lot of it coming from Asia. And what's happening to our country is we're just destroying the fabric of life in our country. And we're not going to take it any longer.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It is intended to appeal to people who see diversity, people who see different, who see, brown skin as a threat to them. And there are different ways to run a campaign. You can run it by fear, or you can run it by inspiration. And that is what Kamala Harris is doing. She is inspiring people. Every time she speaks, and this is what I think what appealed to me so much about Joe Biden's campaign, because at the end of every speech he made, he'd get fiery, he'd talk about Donald Trump, this and that, but he always talked about the promise of America and never bet against America, and you never count us down. We get knocked down, we get back up, blah, 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 blah. There's nothing beyond our capacity, is what he would always say. And that's speaking to the promise of America. And Kamala Harris, she talks about freedom, and she talks about opportunity, and we should believe that our best days are ahead of us. Donald Trump, meanwhile, talks about this fear and loathing, and they're poisoning the blood of our country, and blah, blah, blah. He wants people to turn on each other. What kind of shit is that? And JD Vance is horrendous. He's a senator of Ohio, and he's subjecting his own constituents to that vile hatred, lies and hatred. It's disgusting. Oh, yes, Aries Wanderer. I saw that. Listen to this. A sheriff in Portage County, Ohio, suggested listing the addresses of homes with Harris-Walz banners on the lawn. If that's not voter intimidation, it should be. That actually sounds like some shit that happened during the Anne Frank days. Turning in your fellow person. That's gross. It's gross. Anyway, I would like to jump onto my favorite part of the show now. Is I'm not going to share too much with you, but I do have an update on The Biggest Loser. I want you to see how beautiful some of these pages are looking right now. So just so you know, the whole book is drawn. And when I say the whole book is drawn, all of the pages have been rendered. They've all been rendered. They are beautiful. They're not all colored, and so that's the stage we're up to right now. Let's see. Did I print that? This is our favorite page. This is Spanky McDumbass. Spanky McDumbass is sad. It's that page. So that one's finished coloring. We're still coloring some pages here, but let me share with you. This is the page where Joe Biden, if you didn't grab it from the visual, he is passing the torch to Kamala Harris. And the text says Mo had spent most of his life in public service. He recognized that Spanky was a huge threat to democracy, and he refused to risk letting Spanky back in the Oval Office. So, after much consideration and difficult soul searching, Mo Ryden decided to make a difficult sacrifice. He would withdraw from the race and endorse his vice president, Kamala Harris. And suddenly, just like that, Democrats were electrified and hopeful. And Spanky, the weird old guy who'd spent millions on ads attacking Mo Ryden, suddenly had a new, vibrant, exciting opponent. This page here is probably one of my favorites in the entire book because because this is from the debate. Excuse me, and you can see Spanky screaming, "They're eating the dogs!" Yes, Stephanie, this is the second book, and that's Mamala saying, "You are a disgrace." I thought when she said, "You are a disgrace," that was one of the most shocking moments to me. And like when I say shocking, I mean like that fucking hits. That hits different. When she said that, "You are a disgrace," I felt that. I felt that was so good. The text here says, let's see. Okay. Spanky had to face Mamala in a debate on national TV, and he was no match for her experience as a prosecutor and a U.S. Senator. Her answers were strong and precise. Spanky's answers were weak and rambling. She provoked him, and he completely unraveled. This debate was devastating for Spanky, as it further exposed his steady decline into dementia while he screamed about crowd size and an internet hoax about immigrants eating dogs. Spanky was deranged and unfit. Yeah. And let's see, last but not least, here's one more page I'll share with you. This is a page showing Spanky's post-election attempt to stop the steal. Some more election interference. As you recall from 2020, he had 60 different court cases in which he tried to overturn the will of the people. He was unsuccessful. And as indicated from this picture here, you have state courts, the district courts, and the Supreme Court all giving him the finger, the middle finger. And that's him, Rudy Giuliani, and Alina Habba. So I see some questions here. Trump Reaper wants to know, how do we promote this book? In about a week or so, I am going to have a video. I'm going to be designing a video to promote that. So you can retweet the video and help me promote the book that way. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I think so. And I'll probably, I'm going to, my plan is to publish, officially publish on October 15th. And I plan to do a hashtag thing. So I will drop the hashtag. It's probably just going to be hashtag the bigliest loser. And we'll try to get that trending, and we'll have links out there for people to buy the book, and we'll see what happens. So yes, Aries Wanderer, in answer to your question, it will be available to purchase on October 15th. And can you pre-order? Yes, you can. Yeah, but not yet. Not yet. I'm still getting that. I'm still getting all that stuff set up because it's just me doing this stuff here. So I'm trying to find time to design video and design merch and get my materials all in line and all that stuff. So and yes, Eddie G, I will set up an option for signature books. Probably not going to do a lot of those. I think the last time, oh boy, I did 600. I did 600 signatures, and that was a lot. I probably won't do that many this time, but absolutely, yes, you can get these. You can get autographs. So that's it, folks. I'm very excited for you guys to see this. I am so proud of the work I've done on this book. Oh wait, I didn't even show you this one here. I think I had originally intended to show you this page too. This is a good one. This let's see, can you see this here? There's on the bottom there's Alvin Bragg in the lower right corner. There's Spanky with his disgusting full diaper. And then on the bench there, from can you guys see from left to right there? That's Matt Gaetz, Hannibal Lecter, Don Jr., and Marjorie Taylor Greene. And over there's Michael Cohen, there's Stormy, and there's Bernie. I had so much fun. I had so much fun doing this book. I swear to God, I really can't wait for you guys to see it. It's so much fun. Okay, so guys, thank you for joining me for another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Yeah, so I look forward to seeing you guys here next week, same time, same place. I love you all. Peace.